Chronicles of Vacanus, Forerunners. Chapter 5, Magic and Mayhem. Trekking through the town of Zagahta, the players have been investigating the death of Mayor Leafwood at the apparent hands of a mysterious woman. Finding clues indicating that the woman known as Lady by the Troglodytes could be the same newcomer employee at the Crimson Tavern, the party followed their newfound friend Novie Redsky to the house of waitress Lilora. After finding an unconventional way into the locked cottage, the party began to explore to try and glean more of the character and potentially plans of this mysterious figure. While they were investigating, a large, monstrous creature, seemingly made entirely out of bones, burst forth from the ground and caught the players off guard. Through good shield work, precise aim, and watery whips, the party dispatched the creature and took pieces of it to examine it later. Gathering the rest of their clues, the party returned to the Crimson Force Tavern and all went to their respective rooms and other nightly endeavors to take their rest for the evening. Yet, while Curiosity was in bed, he found himself being watched by a particular tuxedo-colored cat licking its paws on the exterior of the balcony of his room. Technical difficulties. These are not the musics I was supposed to put on.
No, are you sure?
Yes.
Whatever
there it is.
Yeah, whatever musics you had last week was perfect. I didn't have a single issue with YouTube at all.
Probably because I didn't play any tavern music.
Yeah. Or like the one song that got like 18 claims on it.
Do you know which one that was?
I'd have to go look it up real quick.
Because then I could delete it from my list, otherwise I'll accidentally play it again.
The claims I don't mind is the ones that block stuff. That gets weird.
Okay. Curiosity. As you lie inside your bed during the cool night, you notice while daydreaming and thinking about the next day and trying to calm your mind for sleep, the same tuxedo-colored cat that you'd noticed earlier in the day sitting upon the roof, and perhaps the same cat that you heard as you were entering into Lilora's house. You see it sitting there, casually licking his paws. You are struck by the quietness of the room you are currently in. As you listen before making a decision on how to proceed with this creature, you notice that the only thing you hear is the gentle breeze that comes in through the open balcony and sways the thin curtains hanging above the archway openings. As your gaze returns back to the cat, you see that now it has stopped licking itself and it is staring directly at you, eye to eye. You see that its black tail it curls in front of it as it sits on one of the balcony railings. What would you like to do?
So it stopped purring? I thought it was purring before.
It's still purring, and it seems like undisturbed. It seems comfortable and happy, but you see its tail is just sort of curled up and twitching in front of it, and it's staring intently and perhaps curiously at you.
Okay, I stare at the cat and don't take my eyes off of it, and I just whisper quietly, "Harmony."
Yeah, am I back yet, or when is this happening?
This happens pretty shortly after he gets into bed.
Okay, so I'm probably still flying around trying to dry off.
Yep.
Okay. Haha, no one scared the cat away. Okay, so I slowly get out of my bed and try to walk non-threateningly towards the balcony.
Okay. You slip out of bed and just carefully walking over, making as little sound or threatening noises as you can. Cat looks up at you. It twitches its head slightly to the side, but doesn't seem to move from its position.
Okay, I tilt my head to the side and I say, "What do you want to tell me, little cat?"
It twitches his head to the other side, and where it was sitting up, it lays down so that its front paws are smooth across the railing, and it purrs even louder the closer you get.
Okay, I extend my right hand towards it slowly and try to get it to sniff my hand.
As you reach forward with your hand, the cat waits until you fully extended it, and then he gets up and walks over, but he doesn't sniff your hand. Instead, he lays his head in your hand and nuzzles in your palm. And then after doing this, he raises his head back up and stands on all four paws and stares up at your face.
What is it?
He comes closer to you and closer until he's like just right up against your arm.
Is it still purring?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I try to hug it.
Do you pick it up?
And just like, if it's next to my arm, I just like move my arm so I can hug it as it stands there.
You go to put your arm around it. The cat moves into a sitting position, and he lets you put your arm around him. He licks your arm a little bit as you do.
Do you want some food, little kitty? Do we have any food that I could try to feed it?
Yeah, you could try and feed him your rations.
Okay. I'll try to put my rations on the floor, like back further away from the window, like in the room, and see if it'll walk in there to eat them.
Okay. As you start carefully laying down the rations, moving backwards into the room, the cat eats each piece and jumps down the railing, down to the next piece, and slowly follows you into the room. Make an intelligence check. Oh, good roll. As you're leading the cat and you're getting a good look at him, it's striking to you, and you kind of kick yourself for not noticing it before, but he looks remarkably similar to a cat you've previously had. A little smaller, maybe a little younger, but his pattern, his coloring is almost exactly the same. His whiskers are, instead of a white, however, they're a jet black, and his fur is not quite as poofed out as the cat you remember, but in almost every other way, he is identical.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Curiosity and me are both dying from cuteness right now.
As you come to this realization, the cat continues to follow you all the way. Where are you leading him?
I guess if it wants to follow me, I'll try to get it to sleep on the bed. Or climb up on the bed. I get in the bed.
Okay. As soon as you place some food on the bed, the cat eagerly jumps up. He eats the last of the rations you put out for him, and then he curls up into a small ball on the corner edge of the bed.
Okay. I get in the bed and I try not to fall asleep, and I keep an eye out looking for Harmony to try to stop him from doing anything bad to the cat if he sees it when he comes back.
Okay. Harmony, when do you want to return to the room?
I don't know. Whenever I finish drying off. So probably not that long.
Okay. Where's everyone else currently?
Probably up in the room that I have. Probably by myself with Vinda and her necklace or whatnot, just strumming on my lute, trying to relax, let the day come to an end, and probably sleep.
Winter's out. She had way too much coffee.
Out where? Are you in the tavern or?
In the tavern, in a room.
I think she means out as in out like a light.
Oh, asleep. Okay.
Located somewhere between a comfy bed and Cloud 9.
What time is it?
It's like 10:40.
Probably bed.
Okay. And Olav, where are you?
Also asleep.
Okay. So, Harmony, as you come in through the main entranceway, it's normally about this time, as you've been in here before, you know that normally it's fairly lively, that there's still a fairly good crowd about this time, but given the events earlier today, you figure that that's probably why you don't see anyone really now. You see one or two folks, maybe people who work here, just sort of giving the tavern another once-over before they too head over to bed. A few are storing items that were probably used during the celebration earlier today. But no one really regards you as you head up the stairs and start heading towards your room. Curiosity, make a perception check. Okay. Curiosity, as you're carefully watching the cat, you hear heavy footfalls coming up the stairs up towards your room, and you listen carefully for a moment and recognize immediately whose footsteps those are. anything you want to do as Harmony's heading towards your room?
I guess I'll just sit up and look towards the door.
Alright. Harmony, do you knock, step in? How do you enter your room?
He'll open it actually pretty quietly in case Curiosity's actually asleep. Just try not to make that much noise.
Okay, roll stealth just because.
Come on, triple ones.
You open the door fairly quietly. If it wasn't that Curiosity was looking for you, you might have been able to sneak in. But as you carefully open the door, and a small creak of light comes in, make a perception check. As you walk in carefully and you take note of Curiosity, seeing his shape in his bed, the light coasts over and you see a very small patch of black at the very corner edge of his bed as you walk in.
Still awake?
Yes, look at my new cat friend. And I put my hand towards the cat so the glow from it illuminates him softly.
Oh yes, I'm so glad that you're interested in this cat that seems to be following you. Where did you find it?
As soon as you speak, the cat sits up and it darts to where Curiosity's head is and seats itself right on the bed frame, right above his head, and it sort of sits there, as small as it can be, and it looks between you, Harmony, and you, Curiosity, and it just sits there and watches.
I tap my shoulder with my finger and try to get it to jump onto my shoulders.
You see it comes closer to you, and it just gently taps on your shoulder with one of its paws.
I just ignore Harmony and I just look at it and I say, "Come on, cat friend, it's okay." And I try to coax it onto my shoulder.
Yeah, I'm taking my gear off and setting it right next to my bed. So, the gloaming and the painting. Shouldn't we be focused more on that than this cat?
Well, I'm trying to go to bed. I can't go to bed and analyze the painting at the same time, but I can go to bed and hug a cat at the same time.
So what, it was just in the room?
It came up to the window.
It's just going to be a distraction, right? Not that I think it's really doing any harm, but just make sure you get some sleep. We should talk to the barkeep as soon as we can tomorrow.
Okay. Don't you think it looks very similar to Rafi?
I guess. But I haven't seen that many cats, so maybe a lot of them look like that.
I pause, and you can see like there's a look across my face, like I hadn't considered that.
Just go to sleep. And I've got like most of my heavy gear off, and I just like lay down on the bed, staring at the ceiling.
Good night.
As you both go down to sleep, Curiosity, you feel more than you see. The cat comes down from its perch and, finding the pillow next to your head, it curls up into a ball, and eventually you hear it go off to sleep.
As Curiosity falls asleep, he thinks to himself, I really hope this is not somebody else's cat.
If it is, it seems to be yours now. Alright, it is the next morning, and you all rise from your various locations to a bright and shining sun. Sonesta. Once again, you can hear lively music playing down below, and it sounds like the hustle and bustle of the morning has already begun down at the lower ends of the tavern.
I run down and go to the barkeep and order a coffee.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure Curiosity's going so we can head down to get his robes prepared.
Yeah, I go down, but I try to convince the cat to climb up on my shoulders before we leave.
As you wake up, you see the cat stretches itself, and it watches you get ready and get dressed. And as you come and tap on your shoulder to convince it, it runs and sort of leaps onto the bed railing closest to your shoulder, and then leaps off of that onto your shoulder and lands perfectly and curls around your head and just sort of meow at you like it's ready to go. Meow. I really should have Eagle play the cat. She's better at it than me. Winter. You come running down for coffee. The tavern isn't quite crowded yet, but you do see a couple familiar faces. You see a couple people from the caravan, from your aunt and uncle, enjoying some breakfast. As they see you come down, and then they wave at you a little bit. And you see a few other individuals. Some look like they're probably from the town. One is reading like the local town parchment as he's sipping and drinking something in a little teacup. You approach the bartender as he's you see him kind of like cleaning glasses and setting up his bar for the day.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. How are you, young miss?
I will be much better once I have coffee.
Oh boy. Coming up.
She sits down on one of the bar stools waiting for her coffee.
Once again, you watch the barkeep as he turns and uses this amazing machine that you've never seen before, full of gears and cogs, and uses it to grind up the beans and pours you a nice warm cup of coffee and hands it over to you.
Thank you.
Don't forget the copper.
How much was it again?
5.
Okay. And she places 5 copper.
You watch him take it and store it away. Thank you, lass. What are the rest of you doing?
Probably getting up, putting on the outer wrappings. Prepping to come downstairs. What about you, John?
I'm looking at my maps.
Okay. Looking at your maps, you're getting a better sense of the town now. You're kind of you've looked at these maps and you've seen the changes over time. Roll a cartography check for me. Okay. So yeah, you look over the map of Zagahta. You compare it to your apparently current map of Zagahta with your with the map that was yours previously, and it's interesting. The changes. You see, there's one map that's dated pretty close to the founding of the town. And you see that it has a wall and some basic buildings and not much there. And then over time, it grew into a thing. You see, eventually, there is an interesting portion, though, in one of the maps where you see a map that's dated about 300, 350, 375 years ago. And it's got this this pool. This natural waterfall that flows from above the upper district, and it flows down into the lower district, and ends in a sort of like a small little square pool. Then it's called in this map. It's just marked as the Fountain of Purity, but then you see that in like about 50 or 75 years, and about almost in the same period, just like 75 years later, this pool has grown into like a full fountain, and it goes through the entire town district. Only now, it's called the Hero's Fountain, and it is much more decorative. And important, not just in the way it's displayed in the map, but it's also seems to have greater importance than it did before. And there's other little changes here and there. Buildings like the governmental buildings have gotten bigger over time. You see, the upper district became the upper district probably about 200 years ago, and then shortly after that they started marking them as tavern or the market district and the barracks and like these different areas. So you can kind of see that in over like about 300, 400 years time, whereas the town is probably about roughly 600 years old. In the last 400 of these years, the town's definitely grown and shaped and become a much richer, much better town than it had in the years past. But there are a few things your map has that the current map does not. For instance, there are a couple more buildings on the outer areas. You look and you see that Lilora's house, the house you just came from, is not on the most recent map. In fact, it's on your map. And this is kind of difficult for you because you're sort of having to... You're slowly coming to the realization that the map you currently have, whatever it's supposed to lead to, as it does seem like it's leading towards something, somehow it's able to have the exact current portrait of the landscape you are in.
Magic map. Woo!
Okay, are there any clues that indicate treasure?
Yes, there is what is it called? The compass at the bottom. The rose, thank you. It doesn't point north. It instead it points west. West is at the top of the map, and you see looks like a very faded discoloration to the most northwestern part of the map. And you only notice this because you've been studying this map for so long. This faded discoloration was not here before, but it is here now, and it's you can almost swear it's sort of shifting a little bit, but it's sort of this pale yellow color, and it's just in this one building in the very northwest corner of the town.
Is that all?
That's all you can really tell from looking it over this morning.
Okay.
As the rest of you come down for breakfast, I assume, you can start filling in tables and deciding where you want to sit and ordering meals if that's what you'd like to do.
I raise my hand to the tavern keeper. Oh, Mr. Redsky?
Yes, Lass.
Could I trouble you for a little bit of honey?
That's going to cost you an extra 2 copper.
Oh, that's okay.
Alright, then.
Wow, that's cheaper than it says in the book. It says 2 silver piece for an ounce.
Bezek, stop it.
I'm sorry. The things I've been looking at. Sorry.
He pulls up a jar of honey, and he gives you just a small, teaspoon of it into your coffee.
Thank you very much. And she hands him 2 copper pieces.
He nods again and pockets it back into its stock.
Here, when curiosity goes downstairs, he'll ask the tavern owner, "Excuse me, sir, but do you recognize this cat?"
He looks it over for a long period of time. Nope, never seen a cat like that in my life.
Thank you. Curiosity smiles.
You want something to eat?
That would be excellent.
Winter turns and sees the cat on Curiosity's shoulder and stands up and goes, "Oh, Curiosity! You got the kitty!
I did.
Can I pet him?"
I look at the cat to see if her exclamation scared it, or if it looks fine.
he kind of... It's interesting, because if a cat could scowl, you swear this cat is doing it now, as he looks at her, almost like, how dare you think I'm cute, kind of thing, and just sort of just glares at her.
I make a cough at curiosity. You were getting food? Don't keep the man waiting.
Yes. Yes, I'd like some scrambled eggs, please.
So a breakfast platter, then.
Sure.
Very well, very well. And, for you, sir? Looking at Harmony.
I'll have the same.
Alright. 2 breakfast platters!
Does it look... Are there a lot of people here that he, like, needs to serve, or is he sort of, like, there's not very many customers right now?
No, he doesn't appear to be terribly busy. He's mostly just, like, refilling the few drinks that are here. People occasionally will come up and ask for something and he'll order, but mostly he's just kind of killing time.
Excuse me, sir, but could we trouble you for some information on the group of adventurers for which this tavern is named?
Whereas before you've only seen him as sort of busy, you see him rest his hands on the bar counter, and a slow smile curls up his face, and he says, "Well, now, not many folks care to ask about how a tavern gets its name, but absolutely, sure. I'd love to tell you about the Crimson Force."
Ah, excellent. Curiosity looks excited.
Yes, what can I tell you about them?
Well, for perhaps obvious reasons, my friend and I are interested in the one known as Defiance the Magnificent. If you could tell us some more about him, but perhaps the others as well.
Oh, Defiance. Yeah. I don't know about the magnificent part. He sort of seemed to have that title when I met him. Not really sure when or why he acquired it, but, certainly did seem to go to his head, in my opinion. But he was a smart lad. That I could tell you. Right off the back, smart lad. Knew his stuff. Very gifted in magic. As for the others, well, it's been so long. Let's see. Well, there was the human, Alexander. He was, not as sharp as Defiance, but he was wise. You can tell that the others kind of followed him. He was their leader, did most of the talking, and he was the one that, well, he was the one that first volunteered his group to help rescue my granddaughter, Novie. This was back in the day, about 300 years ago. See, no one knew about these people. They were just like all other folk passing through here. Group of adventurers looking for work. When they came into my bar tavern, it was fortunate for both of us. They were looking for work, and my granddaughter had just disappeared recently. And well, I couldn't had no tale of her, and no one else seemed to know where she was, so I hired them to go and look for her. You see, he kind of he furrows his brow a bit, and seems as he's sort of remembering a little bit of a darker memory than he cares to. I'm just, well, we're very fortunate. We're all very fortunate that I requested aid when they did. Turned out my Novie was accidentally mixed up in something that, well, several other people have been involved in. There was this cult of blood something.
blood red rose, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Anyway, they were, your typical cult, did stuff, worked at, did dealings in dark magic and the like. They were going to use Novie and a few others for their dark rituals, but the adventurers found them first and cleared out what was it? Novie! And you hear him as he yells out, and for a second there's nothing, and then, Novie! Get in here! After another second or two goes by, you see your redheaded friend Novie pops out from behind, and she says, bringing in your 2 plates. She's like, yes, I've got the orders. He's like, no. What was the name of the place that the Crimson Force found you? What was it called? You see her eyes kind of narrow, and there's a little bit of a red color to her face that comes, and she goes, Strile's Den, grandfather. It was Strile's Den. Ah, that's the one. Yes. Yep, they found her there in that old cave system. Brought her back to me and the others. Everything was back to normal. It was a good day.
So were the caves sealed up after that then?
The caves? No. They were cleared out. There was nothing more of interest there.
So we were past there. Most of the entrances seemed like they were sealed.
That must have happened later on, after the Crimson Force. Once the cult was gone, there really wasn't anything of importance there. It was mostly just a place for these scavengers, these no-good bloodthirsties to hang their hats for a time.
What happened to the cult's things? Were they destroyed, or did the heroes confiscate them?
That I don't know. The guards said that there really wasn't much left, and anything they found they burned. But if you're asking if, there was loot that the adventurers found, well, that they didn't share with me. But that's not the real reason I named the tavern after them. No, sir, they got other rewards for that. No. The reason I named my tavern after them was about a year or 2 later. My greedy cousin, from all the way in Quester, he came down with his money and his laws, and he tried to steal my tavern from me. Fortunately, and I say this with all due respect to your kind, but your Defiance the Magnificent, I'm not entirely sure he was magnificent, but boy was he smart, and he was clever enough to convince my cousin to go elsewheres, and paid off all the debts I owed on this tavern, and now we own it scot-free, and I can make sure it passes on to Novie. That's the day I renamed it to the Crimson Force.
What was it before?
It used to be called the Bronze Sword Bar. My great-grandfather wasn't entirely creative, but we were proud of the name.
Do you know anything about Defiance before he joined the group?
I think, Oh, that's right.
I have to BRB. Can we pause for a second?
Yes.
Way to go, Kyrath.
While we BRB, what is Ari and Vinda doing?
We came downstairs, probably during the conversation. Ari's been listening in to the conversation, and Vinda is probably chanting "food, food, food" from the necklace.
Yep.
As you walk down, then Novie takes notice of you and says, good evening, Ari. Did you want breakfast? And where is your small friend? Does she want it as well?
Pops out a necklace. Food.
I believe that would be your answer. Yes, 2 breakfasts.
Right away. I'll go and grab that for you. Just heads up, your plates will all be about 25 copper.
That will be no problem.
Grandfather sometimes forgets to say, especially when you get him going on story time. I'll see to it that your food is ready.
Thank you greatly, dear. It's good to have some good food in our stomachs.
She nods as she heads into the kitchen. Olav and Gorm, have you guys come down yet?
I'd probably wait until Olav's done with whatever he's doing with his maps to come down.
Okay. If you're gonna wait for me, then I wanna call your attention to my map and show it to you.
And I wander over.
Do you see this area on the map? It's in the northwest corner of town. See how the discoloration seems to shift?
Yes.
I'm gonna go check this area out this morning. Do you want to come with me?
Sure. I'd like to go shopping a little bit first.
All right, let's go.
Good timing. Okay. Olav, Gorm, as you start heading down the stairs, you encounter the group as they're having this conversation. Well, about the only other thing I can remember about the Gloamling is I believe the red-headed one was his sister. I'm not really sure how they were related. They didn't seem to be the same, but, well, at least he always referred to her as his sister.
And who was the red-headed one?
I believe she went by Destiny. That's right. They called her Destiny the Pure. He points towards the painting, and he points towards the figure with red hair and she has these she has the red hair and the small fairy sitting on her shoulder with her next to her plain cross earrings, as you see, and she has her hands each have like this pure soft yellow glow to them, as though she's casting some sort of magic.
But she looks human.
Like I said, not really sure their relation. He just always called her sister.
What kind of magic did he use?
He clearly used air magic.
How can you tell that?
From his name.
Or he flies.
Winter looks at them confused. What was his name?
That piece of parchment we found said he was called the Windrunner Water Defiance Zagahta the Magnificent. I believe that Windrunner refers to the fact that he follows the Air Guardian.
Winter, if you remember, our dear friend Curiosity here, his full name is Curiosity Zagahta. Very similar to Defiance Zagahta.
seems very intrigued by this.
Yes, well, they were definitely a strange company. Probably why I enjoy having so many adventurers coming into my tavern, seeing all these odd peoples, reminds me of the Crimson Force. And they've done a lot. They did a lot, not just for my bar, but for the town at large. Yeah, you can't go far in this town without meeting someone that they touched. They were true heroes in my book. Hence the naming of the tavern, dedication of the fountain, and that glorious portrait over there, painted. We used all of the highest, most rich people of the town paid to have that painting done. You would not believe how hard it was to convince them to stand for that portrait. Especially for Defiance. He hated it. At any rate, though, we decided the best place for it to be seen would be here in my bar, where everyone could come and see our glorious heroes.
So what are their names?
Precisely what I was going to ask. Thank you, Winter.
Well, the only names we ever knew them by were Defiance the Magnificent, Alexander the Fearless, Nilsuth the Merciful, Azerte the Nightmare, Destiny the Pure, and Paladin Lumahe the Just.
Spelling, please.
Yeah, okay. One moment.
Okay.
Yeah, weird name overload here.
Yeah.
Also, did the tavern owner agree with Curiosity that he used air magic, or did he look like that wasn't correct?
He sort of seemed to gloss over your question.
Because out of character, there's other types of magic that can follow the Windrunner Guardian. Curiosity is just leaping to conclusions.
There you go, everyone. Everyone got the names?
Oh, I thought Luna was the first name and Homie was the last name.
Nope, it's one name. It's one word. Yep, as I said, odd group. Strange individuals to come together, but it did seem to work. Honestly, I haven't seen many people like them since then. Not people that weren't related by blood. You understand? Not these people were different. You could almost call them a family in the way that they were together. Never once really saw any of them argue or come to blows with each other.
Do you know where they went after they saved your tavern?
Oh, they went off to many different places, I assume, to save the world, but they always came back here. Every 5 or 4 years or so, one or two of them, or sometimes the whole group would come back. They'd always make sure to say hi to me. It's how they saved my brother from my cousin. It was 2 years after they saved Novie, coming in just for, saying hi and the like. They came to Zagahta quite often. This was sort of like, I guess you could call it their second home. They spent quite a bit of time here.
And where was their first home?
They didn't really say. I think they lived in Quester for a time. Then they would go to other places. I know that they spent a good deal of time in Astora once. But they were, as much as they were willing to help, they were pretty closed-off individuals. They didn't really say much about who they were or where they came from.
Are any of them still alive?
Ooh, well, talking 300 years ago, I mean, they were pretty great adventurers, but, well, some of them, like the human and the fairy, I doubt it. Azestra, well, she could be. She was an Azamar, after all. I think she was pretty young when we met. Younger than me, anyway, so she could still be alive. But as far as the other ones, I suppose I'm not super familiar with how long their lives are for those races. Not accounting for fact, too, is that, adventurers like those, they could be blessed or something other weird would let them live long lives. I don't know.
Well, when was the last time you saw any of them?
Takes a second, thinks about it. I believe the year was 4025. I believe Defiance passed through here. He had a drink here, spent the night, talked with me for a little bit, and then left. That was the last time I heard from any of them.
Were they on friendly speaking terms with anyone else in the city?
Oh, well, the mayor, she loved them. She was the one who dedicated the fountain to them. Pretty close to her. Some of the guards were friendly with them. Can't tell you as much beyond that. Probably the person that they were closest to, aside from, myself, of course, was probably the mayor. Not the current mayor, mind you. He came into office later.
Thank you for the information.
Of course, anytime. Always happy to remind people of the Crimson Force. They're true heroes and they deserve to be remembered.
Okay, can I go over to the painting and try to see if I can tell what race Destiny is?
Yes, actually you can. Go ahead and roll intelligence for me.
Ooh, nice roll.
So, you in particular, because you've studied in certain places and you are looking for certain individuals, you take a good, long, hard look at Destiny. And it's difficult because even as a painting, it's a bit distorted. It's difficult to tell, as the painting is sort of and looking at it more closely, you can tell it's an exaggeration to some degree of some of their abilities. It's meant to make them look as the best as they can. And so you're having a hard time sort of deciding what is what they probably really look like and what is just for show. But looking at Destiny, you can tell in the sort of the glow to her eyes and the vividness of the red in her hair and just sort of the general aura she gives off. You just know she's not human. She may look very, very human in most regards, but to you, the thing she reminds you the most of are the very few pictures, and you've seen a few of them, but she reminds you of the pictures of the jinn that you've studied. Although she doesn't have their keystone, their normal markings that are common among jinn. She has no tattoos whatsoever, but those eyes and that hair is just undistinguishable. It looks too much like fire to make her be human.
Okay, I call Harmony, come over here.
Yeah, I'll walk over.
It looks like Destiny was a djinn.
You sure?
See how the artist portrayed her as this fiery color in her eyes and hair.
I mean, yeah, it's fairly obvious, I guess.
I think that means that she was a fire djinn. But I don't know exactly why she doesn't have some of the other typical markings.
Well, what do you mean, markings?
I believe that djinn take tattoos and other markings to denote their element on their faces.
Wait, didn't you say that she was called Destiny the Pure or something? Maybe that's why she was called that. I mean, I don't really have any tattoos. Things have.
That is true. But if there was a gloamling in this group, and the Zagahta, and he was friends with a djinn, we clearly need to learn much more about this group.
Well, I guess joining this little group was a good idea then. Looks like we're headed in the right direction. But we need to get your ropes patched up so we can keep following leads.
Yes, that is a good point. We should try to find Azestra if she's still alive. Or is that a guy or a girl?
It's a girl.
Okay.
And you can see, now you're looking at at the painting. You can see her down the corner. She's of the figures, and all of the figures are very impressive, but looking at her and talking about her, you're struck that she's the most intimidating and perhaps scariest one of the group.
Hence her name.
You can put the dots together.
One step at a time. One step at a time. Should probably also try and get some face coverings. In case we need to go on another night stealth mission. Don't want to accidentally glow up everywhere.
That sounds like it would be a good idea. Okay, I go back to finish my food. And I try to get the cat to let Winter pet it.
Interesting note, as you approach and have stood at this painting, you didn't really notice this in the conversation, but now as you're leaving and thinking about it, you see that the cat has been sitting in front, because the painting is up above a hearth of a fireplace, and the cat has been sitting at the sledge and just been staring at it this entire time.
As we walk back, I pet it on its head and I just whisper into its ear, "We'll have to talk about this later, little friend."
It gives you sort of a sad meow, and then slowly turns to you and comes back onto your shoulder.
As you go to sit back and down and eat, you'll be like, "Well, you're not done yet?" I know we were talking, but come on, let's go.
I was listening.
Olaf, Gorm, did you guys sit to listen to this conversation, or have you guys already headed out?
I don't know about Olaf, but I would have just asked for like a loaf of bread and then been ready to go.
Yeah, same here.
Break it in half, give half to Olaf.
Okay, that would have cost you 5 copper.
Yep, already deducting it.
Alright, you two head out. What direction are you going? You going towards the market first?
Yes, I'd like to get a pot.
Yeah, that's what Gorm said. He wants to go to the markets first.